I really love science and I want to get more good science out there. I want to help develop good consumers of science. I want to show people things that they've never seen before, whether that's in the environment or on our campus. You know, there's this sense of wonder that I see all the time if I take students to a marsh or if I take them to the robotics lab on campus and they see the possibilities that they could be a part of in the future. I think that's really important to me too.
Hi, I'm Paola with Ola'pi Creative. Welcome to Conversations with Paola, a weekly video series exploring what it takes to make change. We share unfiltered, intimate, and inspiring conversations with wave makers in blue spaces around the world.
This is it. This moment is the bit that we can influence. It's dreams and goals are really important, but the bit that where we make a change is actually in the moment now. So that really matters to me, being aware of the ripple effect of our actions.
That's the epitome of what the ocean is to me. It's just like my heart and soul, and it's love and it's connection.
It was something that was going to stick with him for quite a while.
I mean, read lots of books. Books will motivate you. Experience things. Experiences will motivate you. Watch interviews like this.
And I have to say, being able to go out and make an impact.
How many people do you interact with every day? You can be a change maker for all of those people.
Now it's time for us to say, okay, everybody's had their chance. Now it's time to say, we're ready. We're going to kick it off, and we're going to start making our beach the most environmentally friendly.
And we love water. We love you. Thank you.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Here we are again. This is an episode of Conversations with Paola. I'm your host, Paola, and I'm a media consultant with Ola'pi Creative. Welcome! Thank you all so much for joining us today. This is a really great episode because we're actually going to be speaking with somebody up in Delaware with Delaware Sea Grant. We're getting a chance to meet David Christopher. He is a marine education specialist with Delaware Sea Grant, and he played an integral role in making sure that Delaware's Coast Day, which has been going on for decades, still went on despite COVID. So today we're going to be talking to David to learn more about what life is like as a marine educator, to learn what Delaware's coastline is like and why it's so special up there, why it's very near and dear to my heart. And we'll also get to hear from David about his experience running a virtual event. So hopefully from this, you all will learn how you too can make sure those events keep running despite COVID. So let's go ahead and welcome David. Hello, David. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. We're super excited.
Well, thank you.
So we got a chance to meet in person. I've known about you for a little while, and we did get a chance to meet a few years ago. The marine education world is small, even though we're in different states, but we've gotten a chance to spend a lot of time in Delaware, and this is where we got a chance to meet up with you and learn more about your exciting role with Delaware Sea Grant. So that was a lot of fun.
It was nice to see you again. Having met you, I think it was in Rhode Island, I met you the first time.
That's
and our
right.
paths have nearly crossed many times. We've just missed each other a couple times too. So
it's super true. I love it. Well, you know, I wanted to start off today with, as a fellow ocean person, I wanted to find out, what is your most memorable experience with water?
You know, that's a hard question because water has played an important role throughout my life. I was born in Havre de Grace, Maryland, like literally blocks from the Susquehanna River, you know. But I think my most memorable experience was when I was in middle school. I went to a summer camp hosted by the Chesapeake Bay Foundation that we explored different water bodies in Maryland. And it ended on Fox Island. Fox Island is a lodge run by the Chesapeake Bay Foundation in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, sitting on a wetland island. And I got to go out and explore the wetlands, and I fell in love with marshes right there and then. I love the animals, I love the plants, the water, and especially the mud. And I remember sitting there in the marsh, like sunk down to my knees in the mud thinking, this is awesome. Wouldn't it be cool if I could do this for a living? And here I am. So I think that is probably my most memorable experience with water and what set me on a course for my life.
I love that. I think we all have that turning point, that singular moment. And for a lot of us, it does involve complete immersion in in that element, really being hands-on in the element. And so since you are the local expert here, would you like to share a little bit about what makes Delaware's coastline so special?
So Delaware, I'm new to living in Delaware. I moved here almost 2 years ago, and it's an incredible environment. We are almost a completely coastal state. No matter where you are in Delaware, you're not far from tidal water. So if you think of a state that has a direct influence on the water and the ocean, Delaware does. And so it's an incredible place. We have the Delaware Bay, which is an incredible ecosystem. And then we have our beaches. We are a small state, but I think about 9 million people visit our state a year. So it's an incredible state. I've enjoyed living here. I live just, 6 miles from the ocean, which is also incredible. We have a lot of great habitats here. We have marshes, we have beaches, we have inland wetlands, and it's just a really, really neat environment to live in.
I agree. I really love spending time there. And something that I always tell folks, one of my favorite parts about Delaware is that a lot of the shoreline is actually preserved by state parks.
Yes, we do have a lot of really great, Delaware parks in general is an incredible system. We have amazing parks. And my favorite drive in probably the entire world is that drive down the Delaware seashore between, Dewey Beach and Bethany Beach, where you're driving down this road and you have the inland bays and the marshes on one side, and then the dunes and the beach on the other side. And I remember that drive as a kid, and I still often on a Sunday morning get up and just do that drive and just visit those areas. And it's an incredible ecosystem.
So in your role now as marine science, marine education specialist, give us an idea of what your days are like. You now get a chance to share that excitement for those ecosystems with other people, right?
Yeah, I do. And it's pretty varied what my day is like. I don't have an average day, right? It all depends on what's going on. So I'm the marine education specialist for Delaware Sea Grant. I work a lot with K-16 students and teachers. We communicate a lot of the science that's going on campus, and a lot of that is dealing with the Delaware Bay and our local ecosystems and the ocean. So I get to communicate that out to students, and I'm always learning. So I am excited by learning. I'm excited to share that learning, and I'm excited to connect people with those local ecosystems and connect them with the science and what we're learning about them. And I think that's really incredible. I do teacher workshops, I do programs. And another area that we've really gotten into, and have always been into actually, but I've gotten into, is marine careers. Showing students all the variety there are in marine related careers. I think back when I was in high school and I was getting interested in this area, I did not know what careers were out there. And those are always changing. So it's great to show students what kind of careers are out there, what they could do in this field, and get them excited about being in the marine field. So I do a little bit of everything, and I really enjoy that.
I love that too. That's such a benefit that we have in working out in the fields and, working in these dynamic systems, is that we do get a chance to experience differences on our daily, in day-to-day operations. And so that's a real benefit about spending time outdoors, being connected. And I hear what you're saying about the career part. When I was 8, I discovered reruns of The Undersea World with Jacques Cousteau. And so as a child, my hero was a 65-year-old Frenchman. And it's so neat that you're giving folks a wider perspective on what is possible in the world of ocean careers. And I also really appreciate that you all do a really nice job of highlighting different kinds of folks. And so we can see that it's not just old white Frenchmen that can be marine biologists.
One of the nice things about working at the University of Delaware, and Delaware Sea Grant is a part of the University of Delaware, is that our professors and our grad students often engage in our programs as well. So students can interact with people who are in grad school who are not much older than them, and they can see themselves in that position someday. And I've always been so thankful since I've been here at just how supportive our campus has been of education.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like you've already mentioned too, there's a lot of different kind of research that's going on there with the University of Delaware. Actually, I went to the University of Delaware for my undergrad up in main campus. And so over in Lewis, there's a lot more, of course, ocean related research that's going on. What has been your role in disseminating that kind of information, and how are you building a coastal community there?
So I've been on a couple grants recently, and one of the ones I had a lot of fun with was with one of our researchers that went to Antarctica, and we did some connection between him and some of the classes. He was going to allow students to use his data, and of course COVID hit and we weren't able to complete that program. We're hoping to do it again this spring. But getting those teachers together and communicating is a really big deal. And we've done a lot also with various climate academies and things like that, where we have teachers come and communicate with each other and build lessons and things. So it's been really nice to get those teachers together and also have them interact directly with the researchers. So they get to meet people who are actually doing the research and communicate with them.
And that's such an important piece. For a long time, scientists have always been seen as in the ivory castle, untouchable. Who knows what's going on there behind closed doors? But you play such a pivotal role in literally bridging that gap between science and society. And what an incredible benefit that is for Delaware. And a big thing that I really appreciate about the state of Delaware too is just how much of a coastal community there seems to be. A neat thing, a neat program that I believe is supported by Delaware Sea Grant, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the oyster shell collection in order to rebuild some of the natural oyster reefs.
We've been doing some aquaculture research with oysters. I believe that might be the Center for Inland Bays. I'm not sure. I don't think that's our office, but I know that we collaborate with a lot of people who do that. But I would have to double check.
Right, exactly. And basically the idea, I think, was very simple, is restaurants were just collecting their used oyster shells, and then that could then be placed back out into the natural system so that it contributes to rebuilding these oyster reefs. So it's a really neat way to involve the community and involve local business owners too in really promoting coastal resilience and a coastal community. Now, I know a big challenge that you have faced with these past few months of COVID is that you are no longer really able to run those in-person events or those school groups or be out in the community. So how on earth have you been able to deal with these challenges of COVID? What have been some of the challenges you've had with COVID?
So there have been, I think, connection, making sure that we're still communicating with our stakeholders, that we're still providing a service to them. There have been some downsides to connecting virtually. There have been some upsides too. We have hosted some teacher trainings and some conferences that when we had planned them, we were expecting either to be local Delaware or mid-Atlantic. And then we're getting participants from California, Canada, all over the United States. And this wasn't, if we had done it in person, we might not have had that reach. But we've noticed a change in our reach, which has been really neat to see. But it can be a challenge to do these things. And we're also making sure that a lot of what we're doing is available online and offline, so that if people register but don't want to be online for an hour and a half, they want to watch it later, that they have that ability to do so. So trying to find ways of making the content available for people, both live and later.
Right, and I think, what we'll end up seeing, and you and I were speaking about this a little bit earlier, is that this is not going anywhere. So this virtual piece really is going to be a neat thing to ingrain into our programs moving here into the future. And you all did a wonderful job of that in your recent Delaware Coast Day. I would love for you to share what Coast Day is all about. It's been running for a long, long time.
Yeah, and I would say I'm just one small part of a larger system in this. A lot of people are there to make sure this happens. Coast Day is an annual event for us at the University of Delaware. It has been going on since 1977. It's only been canceled twice, once for construction, once for extreme weather. And it is a gigantic open house. We open the campus up. There are the ability to tour our labs. A lot of the researchers present family-oriented activities about their science. We have exhibitors. So the Delaware Division of Natural Resources and Environmental Control have a giant exhibit tent, and they run exhibits and programs and things throughout the day. We have lectures. There are other exhibits throughout the property. We normally have a crab cake cook-off and a chowder challenge. There's activities for kids. We have a touch tank ceremony. We have normally a chemistry magic show. And over 8,000 people annually attend this event.
Wow.
So I think that's really cool. We have this gigantic science open house, and 8,000 people attend each year. And we've heard stories of people saying, I attended as a kid, and now I'm bringing my children here, because it's been now 41 years. So it's pretty incredible. I actually went twice before I came to work at the University of Delaware. So it's a pretty phenomenal event. However, at the beginning of the summer, we began to realize that we were probably not going to be able to host an in-person event in October. And it's always the first Sunday in October. So it was October 4th. So we began to look at how to transition that to a virtual event and how we could take some of the things that we have traditionally done year after year and convert them to an online aspect, like the touch tank. And also, what could we do differently? Because we know that our reach would be a little different. Maybe people from out of town would come and join us. Mm-hmm. So we knew that our reach could be different. So what could we do differently? What could we do the same? So we had a lot of different meetings about what virtual Coast Day could look like and how we could do it. And so we set up an event on the same day that was different content every 30 minutes. We had 2 Zoom webinars running at the same time. And there was new content every half an hour on those webinars, live content, between 11 o'clock, and I think our last session began at 3:30, so we ended at 4. So there was new content on each of those. So on each of those webinar channels every half an hour. We also wanted to make sure we were engaging people who maybe didn't want to watch live or maybe wanted to see some static content. So we created a virtual touch tank. So people could go on and learn about the animals of Delaware. It wasn't live, they could do it at any time. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure there's offline content too. So if you couldn't be online that day or didn't have reliable internet access, you could still engage in Coast Day. There were a lot of downloadable activities that you could do outside. So we want to get people outside. There were scavenger hunts, how to do a beach cleanup. We had downloadable crafts. Mm-hmm. And we also provided libraries throughout Delaware with craft packets and collage packets that families could pick up from the libraries and take home and do. So even if they didn't go online, they could still engage in Coast Day. So we tried to look at all these different elements of how to make Coast Day interactive. And preserve many of the things that we have done in the past.
Absolutely. I love that concept. And so how did it go? Do you got a sense for everything going smoothly?
It went very smoothly. And I give a lot of credit to our Environmental Public Education Office for really making it run smoothly. Each of the Delaware Sea Grant employees was given sessions to plan. So I planned 4 sessions as well as put some of the offline content, and we run an annual Coast Day essay contest, which is near and dear to my heart because my mom was a reading teacher, and so I get to combine my background in reading with my mother and the essay contest. So I always really enjoy the essay contest. And so we planned these sessions. So each one of us got a certain number of sessions to plan and bring in guest speakers. And then our Environmental Public Education Office ran the back end. So they came up with the interface. We had somebody that was in charge of each of the webinar sessions throughout the day. And they made sure things ran smoothly. They made sure that we stayed on time. They helped with questions. They helped with the transitions. So they made that run smoothly throughout the day. And then also on the back end, our Environmental Public Education Office also managed the Facebook page, our social media, and answered questions coming in from our email. So there was a lot of going on the back end, and it was really great because as a moderator for my session, I only had to focus in on my session. Our EP office managed everything else and kept us on track. And one of the most amazing things at the end of the day, we were on time the entire day, which is critical in this because you might have someone just coming in for that one session, and so you want to maintain on time. So what we know is that, we did not probably get 8,000 people this year that watched it, but the ones that did watch it really enjoyed it. So they were really engaged and they really enjoyed the content that we provided. So that was really exciting.
And the nice thing is that people, although even if they weren't able to attend live, they can always go back, register, and actually watch what went down on that same day, right?
Yeah, so all the content is now up. You have to register. It's I have the website right here. Make sure I got it right. I don't want to say it wrong. It's decoastday.org, decoastday.org. All the content is up. So if you register, you have access to all the downloadable activities, the virtual touch tank, and we have just, I believe, gotten up all the sessions. So we recorded all the sessions from both webinars. And if that's not up now, it'll be up soon. I believe it's up now. So it's still there, and you can still engage. And so we're hoping people throughout the year still engage with that. There is a lot of really great content in there, and we encourage people to go to decoastday.org and check it out.
And I just typed that into the comments and said y'all should be able to see that and access that right away. So you can also register and make sure you participate. Because like you said, it wasn't just about listening to people talk. It was actually very hands-on. And that virtual touch tank is really impressive, something that's really unique. And even your segment was something that was really unique. You wanted to share what you got to talk about?
Well, I did a couple different things. Are you talking about my DNA extraction portion? Or yeah, so that was really fun. So every time I do a Zoom presentation or do an online presentation, I'm always trying to do something different and trying to do something that isn't just me talking. Mm-hmm. So one of the offline activities where students or families could make a DNA bracelet. So based on an organism, we gave them different colors that represented the different base pairs, and they can make a DNA bracelet. So we thought it would be cool to do a strawberry DNA extraction live. And I'm doing this from my kitchen, right? So I set it up. It was really hard to do. It was really hard to figure out my position in space as I was doing this. Yeah. We had, a moderator, Chris Patrone, who is the director of the Marine Advisory Service. He was helping me out. They asked questions and helped me figure out what was going on. So I did that strawberry DNA extraction, which you crush the strawberries. And the directions are online. You can find them a lot of different places. I adapted some directions for this activity. And then you make a mixture to extract that DNA, which is just salt and dish soap. And then you can pull out the DNA. And it was really cool. So that was really fun. And it was really fun to do something that, I don't want to call it grand, but that kind of different on a virtual space. So it was my first time doing that type of experiment. I've done other experiments, but I had to do it a little bit differently because I didn't want to crush strawberries over my laptop and cause a disaster. So I set up a little lab in my kitchen, which was a lot of fun to do. And I always like to think through those things and come up with things. I practiced it and it went okay. And then someone asked me, like, why does it work with strawberries? Can you do other fruits? So the next Monday I went out and I brought bananas and blueberries and I tried it again, and we posted some pictures on Instagram of what that looked like. And so that was another fun thing, is like in science, if someone says, what about this? You go and try it. And so I did. And we put the pictures up on, I think they went up on Instagram. And that was pretty exciting and a fun thing to do. And I made a mess of my kitchen countertop, which I feel is a success in science. So it was a lot of fun. I did a couple other panels, but that was probably the highlight of my day, was getting to crush strawberries and do a DNA extraction. And it connected back to one of the offline activities. So it was a lot of fun.
I know, it's so creative. I mean, just that singular experiment's really creative. I'm sure nobody has ever really considered that strawberries even have DNA, and then let alone that you could extract it so easily in your kitchen. But right, the way that you were able to connect it from the online experience to what you were also providing as a hands-on experience was really clever and very creative. And it sounds like through this experience, you learned quite a lot about putting on virtual events and putting on, Zoom chats. Do you have any tips you want to share?
Yeah, I think one of the critical things, especially when we do a larger event, it's having people on the back end that can really help run it. As a moderator, as someone in charge, especially in a large event, you're focusing in on your speakers, but there needs to be people on the back end making sure that the technology is working, that people are being brought in, that anybody's having sound issues is being addressed. And I think that was something that I've learned through this and through a lot of the conferences I've helped run, is that back end is very, very important in making things run smoothly and allowing your speaker and your moderators to focus on that and not necessarily, answering, how do I turn on my microphone, or I'm having an issue with this. And also having someone to manage the questions too. So that helps, make sure you know what questions need to be asked or ask the questions for you. That's also very helpful. And anything you can do to do something different. I did a Zoom presentation talking about turbines, and so in person I would normally use a power drill to turn a turbine to show it how it lights up. Well, I did that on Zoom, and that got a lot of excitement because I was doing something different. I tried to do a Zoom presentation from a wetland the other day, and that didn't work because we didn't have connectivity. So I had to do it from my apartment. But I had a bucket of mud. I had the plants here. And so just trying to do something different to engage people so they're seeing something different than just someone talking, I think that's critical too. I was thinking about the power drill thing today, but I wound up breaking a piece of it, so I couldn't do it. But I think that's one of the critical things, is trying to do something different and trying to create offline experiences. Trying to create robust offline experiences too, so that you extend that presentation into the home or into the community or into the classroom. But also, if someone doesn't want to be online, they can still engage with what you're trying to accomplish.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, that all makes a lot of sense. And you're right. I mean, as much as we appreciate learning, the talking head doesn't always help us learn. So I love that you always do your best to come up with something creative, hands-on, and especially when we're talking science, you can talk about the principles of science all day long, but until it's demonstrated, it doesn't really sink in. So you do such a neat job with that. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my favorite things I've created so far virtually was for a Scout Merit Badge class. I actually created a topographic map of the ocean floor out of Legos. And so showing that to them has been really exciting because it's a little bit different than what they normally see.
And like you said, it's hands-on. I mean, they're literally there. They can feel it. They can, imagine what that depth must look like when they can see it in that Lego form. And Lego is something that's very familiar with everybody. Everybody appreciates good Lego build. Very neat. So you always have a lot going on. You just got a chance to wrap up Coast Day, and you just got a chance to wrap up the Mid-Atlantic Marine Association Conference, Marine Educators Conference. What do you have next? Hopefully a break.
Well, yeah, so, it's getting to be winter. I've got a couple of days off coming up. I'm working on an invasive species lesson now on invasive crabs, and I'm really excited. It's actually what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day, is working on this invasive species lesson, which I'm really excited. I'm using StoryMap for the first time, which is a pretty exciting technology. And that's really neat. I'm working with I'm on the board of the Delaware Association for Environmental Education, and they're in the process of planning their conference. So I'm on the conference committee for that. So I'll be working on that. And I'm president-elect of the National Marine Educators Association, so I'm busy there too. So there's never a dull moment. Like I said earlier, my days are different every single day. And so I'm always excited for these new challenges. And so I'm pretty excited with what I've got coming up next. And, one of the really neat, exciting things about my life is I know that there's an amazing project just around the corner I'm going to find out about, And so, especially working with the researchers on campus, I'm sure there's something just around the corner, something new I'm going to learn. And I'm always excited about what that next phone call or email is going to be about what project is coming down the pike. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, and I think that's such a bonus of being an educator, in particular a marine or environmental educator, is that you always get to learn, and yet you always get an opportunity to be creative. And so you truly are combining the worlds of science and art. And that isn't always talked about. It's needed much more of, and you do such a fine job of that. So very neat.
Well, thank you.
I'm watching you.
Well, I got to give credit to the rest of Delaware Sea Grant. We work as a team, and I'm learning from them all the time. And our environmental public education office is always there to help produce materials and help out with the technological aspects of these things and help out with making sure everything looks good. I am not an artist. I mean, as an actual artist, we're all artists. But so there's so much support here, and we. Like I said, I was one small part of Coast Day, but it was a team effort, and it's great to be part of this team. So, yeah.
Very exciting. So, at the end of all of this, you've gotten a chance to experience so many neat events, participate in so many interesting programs, design programs and experiences. At the end of the day, what would you say matters to you most?
There's the personal aspect of I'm always learning. So that matters to me, like as my own personal growth. I'm always learning new things. As far as my job, I really love science and I want to get more good science out there. I want to help develop good consumers of science. I want to show people things that they've never seen before, whether that's in the environment or on our campus. You know, there's this sense of wonder that I see all the time if I take students to a marsh or if I take them to the robotics lab on campus and they see the possibilities that they could be a part of in the future. I think that's really important to me too. There's so much to learn about the world. There's so much to see. And we also want to help prepare people to be citizens, better, you know, more informed citizens to make informed choices. And I think that's also very important to me. So all those things, I think about those things all the time. It's very important. So.
Well, facilitating wonder is such an amazing thing to be able to get to do, get to contribute in the world. And just like you said, I mean, it really is all about reconnecting people to nature, making sure that we promote that sense of wonder, because it's so neat when you get to walk through a wetlands or walk through a forest or go snorkeling and you actually know what you're looking at and you understand what the connection is, what their role is in the wider ecosystem. I mean, it's mind-blowing. You understand the connection, you appreciate it more, and then it makes you want to care for it more. And that's exactly what it's all about. At the end of the day, we want to promote more conscious consumerism because our planet could benefit from more sustainable lifestyle that we could be living. So I applaud you all for your efforts there at Delaware Sea Grant, for everything that you're doing to educate people, to involve them in the coastal community, and to make learning fun. So this is really exciting. I love seeing what you all are doing there. Is there anything you want to share with our audience here before we wrap things up? We'll definitely want to make sure we connect people to you. So go ahead.
Well, you know, just keep in touch with what we're doing. Visit our Facebook page and visit our website. We often have programs or workshops that are available. If you're in the state of Delaware, you know, and you're a teacher, I would love to connect with you. You know, so check out our website. You know, I'm always looking for new groups to talk to. Like I said, I work with K to 16 students and teachers, but I'll talk to just about anybody about what I do, because I think it's pretty awesome what I do every day, and I want to share that with everyone. So please, yeah, and also check out our YouTube site. I just want to put a quick plug in for our 15-second science series. It's an incredible series. We have over 200 episodes where we take science concepts or issues and we boil it down to 15 seconds. It's really quick to watch, but they can be highly addictive. Once you start watching them, you just keep going and going and going. I've done a few this summer on invasive species, and trying to only talk for 15 seconds is really hard. So it was a learning experience for me, but they're a lot of fun. They're really interesting. So check those out. Check our website out. Check our Facebook page out. And stay connected with us.
Well, thank you so much, David. We'll make sure we put all of those links down below in the comments so you all have an easy access to everything that David has mentioned. I so encourage you to register for that Delaware Coast Day so you can check out all of the fun that was involved in preparing that and all of the great activities that folks like David put together so that we could become better stewards of our planet, so we could appreciate the world around us and have fun while we're doing it. So we'll make sure we link all of that. Well, David, thank you so much for spending your morning with us, for teaching us, for sharing a little bit about what you do. It's such a pleasure, it's such a joy to be connected with you and to learn what's going on in Delaware. I love that state.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us. And yeah, thanks. It's been great.
Absolutely. Well, we might be over there in December, so I'll make sure I'll give you a call when we come visit.
Yeah, please do. It's a great place. And I love the beach in the wintertime. So
nice.
It's so beautiful, the dynamic oceans. And so I'm looking forward to December and getting to walk along the winter coastline.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, David. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Conversations with Paola. This is all about learning about the people around us who are doing something good for the ocean. And David is a wonderful steward and has been sharing all of his, everything he's learned with us. And so we're so appreciative of that. And so thank you all for joining us and for watching. And we'll see you next week on Wednesday for another episode of Conversations with Paola. Until then, go be a wave maker!